Yeah. So first of all, good morning to everyone. So this is Shiv Teja from Team Amigos. So Bhargav will be accompanying me in this particular project. Uh, so like when this comes up, so we just thought we need to have a use case. So we had a discussion with the team, and then we thought uh, we had a use case, so which will be quite useful for Blue Prism. Let me go to that. So the name for this is AuditBot. So we have been working on Blue Prism from past 3 years. We as a developers, we develop everything. The major part, major challenge for the developers is to see the best practices get followed. So when we do a long process, like a large process, so it's difficult to check every object and every process, like if is the best practices followed or not. So we thought, why not bot do that? So if bot do that, so we'll be having a lot of free time to allocate that in much productive things. So that's where our idea pops up. So we thought we'll develop a process so which will check the best practices or followed or not by the developer for a particular process. If not, it will have a Excel report in which it will show all the things like which are not followed. So instead of going to every page and every object, so he can just go through the report, Excel report, and just see what are not followed, and then he can just modify that. So that's where it is useful for the developers. So we have added few checkpoints for this audit bot. So like we can develop still, but due to time constraints, so we have added few points which we feel is mandate, because best practices change from company to company. So whatever we feel is important, so that's what we have included in the process. So I think Bhargav will show the demo of what exactly we are doing in the process. So that's it from my end. So this is Shiv Teja. So I have been working on Blue Prism from past 3 years. So we have Bhargav as well in the team. So he's there with me from past 3 years. So we both are working on Blue Prism. So yeah, so an audit bot is our user use case. So that's it from my end. So like if you want to like ask anything, just let me know so that I
We
can
would
clear it
like
up.
to
Yeah.
see the demo and the code before we ask questions. So, Bhargav, if who will be showing the demo and the code, please?
Yeah, so Bhargav has the code, so he'll be showing that. I'll stop my sharing. Then I think he can
Yeah,
start
yeah,
sharing it.
yeah.
Currently, I have opened my audit bot process studio. Please let me know once if you are able to see it. Then I will proceed with my explanation and
Yeah,
demo
Yeah,
of this
Bhargav,
use case.
yes.
Yeah.
Ye-
Yes, thank you. Firstly, there is one prerequisite for this bot where we need to place our required release file for which we need to perform audit, that in one respective folder. For now, we have fixed it as a desktop one audit bot folder. And then now I'm going to run this process. Firstly, in the startup page, what we are doing is like we are checking whether the directory is present or not, and then we will be checking for the BP release files. Are there any BP release files present in that? If there are any BP release files, then we will be preparing one queue collection, which is going to be added to the queue. And here I have kept one process for purpose, and there is only one item for our queue. And here in populate queue, it will be checking whether are there any files present in this queue collection or not. And if there are any files, then it will add to the queue. And currently now we have one item in our queue, and in queue what we'll be adding is like the path of this file where it is present. And the purpose why we have used queue is like when we have multiple requests coming up, firstly we can automate this process entirely without that. I will explain last as what we can improve in this process. Currently with using queue, we can do our audit will be very nice. Logging we will get to know, and then if we have any multiple requests, then if any fails, it will respond. It will fix that case, and other case might run properly.
So Bhargav, just hold on a minute.
And then for reporting purpose also, okay.
There is a lag,
So
Bhargav, maybe in your
yeah,
screen.
yeah. So
Okay.
like before going to that, so
Okay.
what we are doing is, so we are checking the audit based on the XML code. So we will be getting an XML code into the process, and then we, based on the tags, we are checking few things. So we have used a queue as well here, because maybe like we want to check audit for three processes at the same time. So maybe we can just place three files over there in the folder. So it will add all the three into the queue. So it will process one by one. So based on the XML code, it will check the tags, and it will send the report for all the three process. So that's the reason we have used queue, and we are going with XML codes. So yeah, Bhargav, over to you again.
Yes, thank you, Shiv. And can get process and objects page. So from here onwards, I will take a pause to get in sync with the video. Okay, and then please let me know, are you able to see get process and object screen?
Uh,
Am I audible?
yes, yes. So we can see the process, Bhargav. Go ahead.
Yeah, here what we are doing is like this is the first step of our where we will be first reading the XML file into one of our data items, and then the path will be coming. We have stored the path, and then using the add tag process, we are getting all the steps which are available in that release file, and then I am looping it through those collection where we will be deleting unwanted. There are elements we require only process, and also how the process and objects differentiated is like we have an attribute where type is equal to object or normal. If type is equal to normal, it will be a process.
So let me deal with this. So as Bhargav said, so we are going to start a page which was there on the screen. So they were checking the path. Is the path exist? Because it's a prerequisite. We have to create a folder with audit bot a name.
We have
So yeah. So in the startup page, so we'll be having the check for folder. So if there are any files, then it will add them to the queue. If not, then it will just go to close down page there. So after that, we have a populate queue. So as we discussed, so the folder will be having multiple files. So if yes, it will be adding all to the queue. So based on the uh, best practices, we'll be getting our next item from the queue. So we will be locking that. So in the get process and objects, so we'll be getting all the XML code there. So we'll be segregating the process and objects into different collections. So because we need to check both the things, so we will segregate them. So after that, we'll be having two pages. One is process check and the object check. So in the process check, we'll be dealing all the things like if the loggings are perfect, and like if the exception handling is done properly, and we have couple of things as well. Like after that, we will be checking environment locking as well. We will be checking if environment variables, work queue, session variables, so everything is there in the process or not, because based on best practices, it has to be there in the process. So after dealing all these things, like it will check all the process, all the objects, because we'll be having multiple objects and process in a particular release file. So it will be checking everything, and it will just share an excel report, uh, like if everything is followed or not. If everything is like, if something is not followed, it will pop up in that excel. So we will be having that excel with us, so we'll be just straight away go to that particular thing, and we have to rectify that. So that's how it reduces a lot of work for developers. It really helps us, because if we have like 10 process and 10 objects, it's a pretty tough task to go and check every process and object. So if we have this, we'll be getting an excel report, so we can straightly go away to that particular page and just right away do this thing. So we can develop this to the next level as well. So we have a process here, so we can develop based on email as well. For example, you're an user, you don't want to have this in the BP. We can have a bot in which this process will run for 24 by 7 maybe, or it will trigger by email. So you can send an BP release file to that particular email. So based on that, it will trigger the process. It will run for the process, and then it will send back the report through mail. So we haven't done that for now, but I'm just telling you, like, we can do that as well. So yeah, so that's what the process do. Yeah.
Is this an idea you had on your own, or did you borrow it from some other functionality that you've seen?
No, like we have been using this like with us in our company. So we have done this. So we have modified this based on our requirements. So yeah.
Okay.
My question
So
is,
like this is the output file. So if you see the variables are not used, environment variable, and it was showing the process name over there.
quick question here.
Yeah, Benny, sure.
So my question is, can you go further down? Like, I see there is exception. It mentions at a high level that there is exception that's not been handled, right? But can you go into individual pages and sections, or
Exactly. Exactly. We can go, but like based on time constraint, like we didn't go to that particular step. But
Okay.
yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, Shiva, on the same lines, what
Uh-huh.
Benny asked, I also had a question. So you are checking each stage in the process and object if the desired exception that you get
Mhm.
from XML, so that is instructed from XML, is it there or not?
Mhm.
So are you checking code at stage level for each process and object?
Like for now, we are checking just process and object level. But if you want to go for each stage level, so it will be we can do that, but it takes some time because we have to loop the all the things. So we have to go through the loop. So that's why we just thought let's go for object and process now. Then for the later part, maybe we can go for stages. But we can do that. Yes.
Got it.
Shiva, Joe here. Quick question. You say best practice. Is this some guideline within the organization, and how do you programmatically put in there to actually define the best practice check?
Yes, Joe. So like it changes from company to company. Like you said. So but there are quite a few things like which we feel we should use it as a best practice. So we have mentioned that points, but we can add on like based on the organization requirement. So we have dealt with our organization requirements. Maybe you can change that according to you.
So how do you change that kind of a requirement? Is it coded or parameterize it somewhere?
Yeah. So like we'll be getting the XML code, right? So we have to write that code by on our own. Yeah. So based on our requirement, we need to keep checks on the XML code, and then we need to run through the loop to check what exactly we need.
So this checking is based on coding?
Yeah.
Where you use a phase approach to go through the XML. So for this case here is coded to actually check that best practice. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I just want to clarify this. Thanks.
So want to add on to that, Shiva. So as of now, if let's say a naming convention is not correct, right? A very basic thing. So do you have it hard coded in your code, or you have some other mechanism by which I can specify that this is my naming convention? So check for this naming convention throughout the code.
Okay. Naming convention for what? Like for the process name or
Just
for
an
the
example,
objects?
let's say stage level. So I understand that you have not done to that level. You have done only process and object level. But let's say tomorrow I want to check my code for naming convention related errors, right? For an example. So if I go with the current code, I believe you have hard coded things for checking of errors. Now tomorrow, if I say my naming convention should start with BPO, something like that, right? So can you modify the code to check for naming convention of all stages and it should start with BPO, something like that. And I want it to be configurable so that, after a year, if my naming convention changes from BPO to BPX, the same code should work.
Yeah, maybe we can use a wildcard there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answers. Any other questions from anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Shiva. That was a wonderful use case, because this is something which every organization wants to have it, a code reviewer bot sort of thing. However, there are some feedbacks which we would share with you once we collate it, and we will share the final outcome with you soon. Thank you so much, Shiva and Bhargav. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.
You too.